Good morning, afternoon, good night, whatever it is, wherever you are. Welcome to season 4, episode 2 of How I Met Your Mortgage. You might notice someone is missing. Just like we did last year, we kicked Adam off the show for the day. My name is Jenn Waybor. I am one of the coaches and the marketing director for Just the Tips Coaching. And I am so excited to be joined by Ashley Miller today. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Jen. Thank you so much for having me back.
Of course. We were talking before the show and we did this last year and we didn't know each other at all. We'd only met once and we were both so nervous. And then this year it's like we talk all the time.
Walk in the park.
Yeah. So in case there's anybody who doesn't already know you, Ashley, do you want to give them just a brief background of where you came from, what you do now, that kind of stuff?
Sure. So I'm Ashley Miller. I am the business development manager for GTG Financial. We are a mortgage brokerage based in Northern California, in beautiful Sonoma County. I grew up here in Northern California. I've been in lending for, I think going on 12 years now. So a little while. Been with GTG now, running out my 3rd year with GTG Financial. And I am the marketing person, the HR person, the legal person, the compliance person. I don't know how I got in charge of legal and compliance, but somehow I am. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Cool. So I feel like we have to talk about 2020. Yeah. I know a year ago we talked about what you expected in 2020 and then we all just had to throw that out the window. But was there anything new you guys implemented marketing wise in 2020?
New. I mean, gosh, we were implementing new stuff all the time. As far as marketing, we stayed consistent with our marketing, with our social media presence, and just staying in front of our database. But there were certain things we actually had to pull back on marketing wise, just because there was too much business. And I mean that in a, we're very blessed. I mean that in the best way possible. But I think last year on the show, we were talking about our MVP program. That was something we kind of did by the wayside. There was a lot of stuff that we were doing. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. The camera just decided to jump off.
Fine. Live video. It's all good.
Hey, we're just rolling with the theme of 2020 and things are happening we don't expect. No, so there was a lot that we had done in 2019 that we had started and we're implementing that whole entire year that were in-person type of marketing techniques, which was our MVP program. We host client appreciation events and we just couldn't do that last year. So there were things that we just had to pivot a little bit and refocus our efforts elsewhere. We stayed really consistent with our social media marketing. We started implementing more database marketing. So we brought in a new CRM that we were using. We pretty much got that up and running all last year. And that's probably been, I think, the biggest thing that we implemented last year was a brand new CRM. And we've just been working on getting that as dialed in as possible.
Cool. I know our industry was incredibly busy last year. So was it mostly repeat and referral business for you guys?
Yep. Yeah. The majority of it was past clients and just repeat, like you said, repeat business.
Awesome. I know we talked last year about video. Is that still something that's kind of up your sleeve to get going for GTG?
Yes, I need to do that. I mean, that is something that I have not done. And it's just for the sheer fact that, and I get it, everyone's working from home. But I'm not ready every day, all day. So I tend to just continue to put it off, which is something that this year I'm not going to put off anymore. And so we do have plans to start implementing more video, more lives, just more organic style of going live on Facebook if we're out in the community doing something or in the office, just to let people have more of an insight of who we are as individuals. I think that you can only get that from doing video. So it's a plan this year.
I was going to say, you touched on something so important. I think that marketing got so branded, so professional, and now we're moving back the other way. They want to see, now I'm knocking my camera over. They want to see organic content. They want to see who you really are, what you're out doing in the community. And there's no better way to show your potential clients what these communities are like, except for just pressing start on a live video and showing them the communities.
Yeah. And it can be nerve-wracking at first. I think a lot of people share the same sentiment that it's just kind of unnatural, I feel like, to just have that video in your face and you're going live and you don't really know who you're talking to just yet. You don't have an audience in front of you as if you were in person. But it's truly the only way, I think, to get to know people's personalities. And when you create that affinity with people, that's kind of when the magic happens. So
Yeah, something Adam always mentions is like he'll be out meeting people and people will walk up to him like they know him, and they do know him, and it's because he does so much video content. They know his mannerisms, they know his voice, they know our office, they know the dogs that are running around our office.
Yeah.
You know, my mom is in Maine. She's 2,000 miles from here, and she's like, I feel like I know Adam, and I've met him for like 2 seconds. I'm like, that's the point. Like, it's creating this trust, and you haven't even met in person. I know we talked some about you because I think something people really struggle with the who you are versus the what you do is when you have a team. So like you guys have a whole team. So I know you and I have talked a lot about ideas for social media marketing where you can showcase the team. And I know we brainstormed some questions that you're going to put out to your team to start featuring them on social media.
Yes, yeah. And we do certain features like we'll highlight birthdays. When we have new hires that come on, we highlight all of our top producers. We try to highlight our operations staff as much as possible because I mean they're not on the front lines like our sales team. So it's important for us that people also know who's kind of behind the scenes and who they are too. So the questions and little bios and things was last year on my like to-do list. Admittedly, it was a long to-do list. But yes, that's something this year we really do want to start highlighting the team and the staff. So people look at us as one unit versus, that this is Ashley Miller or Glenn Groves or, whatever loan officer they're working with. And they don't quite know the people that are actually doing the hard work on the loans that we're closing for them.
Absolutely. And it's not those questions like, where are you from? When were you born? Like it's branching out from that stuff. So can you tell our audience some of those questions that you're thinking of doing with your team?
Some of the questions, I mean, I'm a baseball fan, so who's your baseball team? Your coffee order. I'm trying to think of what you and I were going back and forth on.
I think we talked about binge-worthy Netflix shows.
Yeah, binging a Netflix show. What's your order at a Mexican restaurant? When you sit down, what's the first thing you're ordering?
Oh, I love that. I love the food and the coffee ones. Those are so smart. So if our team at Core is listening, we're totally going to jump into this too, because this was on my list last year too and didn't happen. And I would like to feature all the lovely human beings that are behind the scenes at Core and GTT. So I think that'll be really cool. You started a podcast last year.
I did start a podcast last year with my best friend, Michelle Diggin, that I think most of us all already know her too. We started that actually around this time last year was when we were getting it off the ground and starting to implement that. And so we got to run with that last year, which was a ton of fun. We've kind of scaled back a little bit just because, like I said earlier, business was booming last year and our clients come first. So we didn't necessarily have the time to dedicate to it, but we have tons of ideas for this year, bringing that back. We're going to start integrating the podcast into Clubhouse too, which is a new app that I know we're going to talk about today. Yeah, but we've got plans. So the podcast is called Blondes Have More Funds, and we want to do a club on Clubhouse, a group, or I don't even actually know the correct terminology, group, club, whatever. But we want to have our own little group on Clubhouse called Blonde Moments. So that's kind of our short-term goal is to be able to set up a group or a club on Clubhouse.
Very cool. So what was the inspiration behind the podcast for you guys?
Her and I, being in lending, it's one of those things where kind of what we mentioned earlier, people don't really get to know you very well. They kind of put you in this box, right? Well, she's a mortgage lender or she's a mom, like these things that they know of us because of what they see us posting on social media. But we're much more than that. And her and I have a lot to say and a lot that we like to share with people. And we're both very extroverted. And for us, it was just another way of having that like exchange of energy with people that we wanted to talk to and stuff that we wanted to talk about. And it's just a very much kind of like a lighthearted, lifestyle and business kind of podcast. But we were just, hey, we have got things that we want to share and share we will. So that's how that came about.
Very cool. Heather Blair said hi. Hi, Heather.
Hi,
Heather. So Clubhouse. We got to talk about Clubhouse.
Yeah, the new toy.
Yeah, and I was saying before, it's kind of appropriate that we talk about it without Adam because Adam is an Android user. He likes to say he's an adult. So he's not allowed on Clubhouse yet. But you and I have been on Clubhouse. I joined the very end of December. How long have you been on Clubhouse?
I think I got around the end of December. I want to say maybe like one of the last weeks of the month is when I was able to get on Clubhouse.
Yeah, I think it might have been like the same day.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what Clubhouse is, to our listeners, it is the latest social media toy, I guess I'll call it. And the way I'm describing it is interactive podcasting, because that's what it
how I describe it
feels
too.
like.
Yeah, live podcasting is what I've been saying.
Oh, I like that too. So like live interactive podcasting, pretty much is what it is. It is invite only right now. It is Apple only right now. There's a ton of people on it. It is starting to explode. So it's gonna be
growing growing super quickly. I do have one invite hanging out there. If anyone needs one, message me. I'll be happy to send it your way. But it's been a lot of fun. Have you been pretty active on there? Like since joining?
I was for like 2 weeks. I tend to like join a room on marketing or something and just leave it going on my desk and listen. Mm-hmm. The problem is, so I'll just give a little backstory on how Clubhouse is set up. There are rooms and there are clubs. So what Ashley was talking about for Blonde Moments is that will be a club, but you have to host rooms in order to be allowed to start a club on Clubhouse. And basically you start a room, you name it, give it some fun title that's going to grab people's attention, and say that Ashley and I started a room together. We would be the speakers. And as people join, they can just hang out and listen, or we can invite them. It's called inviting them up on stage to talk with us. So they can ask questions. Like if Ashley and I were giving marketing tips, then we could pull somebody up on stage and, do a quick audit of their social media or something like that. But what they say is you have to host 3 rooms before you can start a club. I did notice that Dre Munar was able to start a club. So I think he's the first out of...
Yeah, I got his. Of course he would do it. I mean, if anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be Dre. So of course he got in there. I think you have to host. Someone was saying it's 1 room a week for 3 weeks or something like that, or you have to average like 3 rooms over the course of 3 weeks or something. And I've done 2, so I got to jump in and do 1 more for kind of be able to get ours off the ground.
And I'm hearing that it'll take at least 2 to 3 weeks to get your club approved right now. Though it seems like Dre's didn't take that long, so maybe they've hired more staff or something.
Yeah, maybe they sped that up.
But right now, I mean, I a lot of what I see is real estate, marketing, sales. I joined a dog group, and there's like a vet that comes on and does just general vet advice in a room once a week, which was pretty cool. But especially for those that don't enjoy putting their face on video, it's a great way to get your voice out there and start connecting with people. And you get 1 invite when you join, but then as you're active, they'll give you more invites to start building your circle. What kind of content have you seen that you've enjoyed on Clubhouse so far?
The social media content, the real estate content, I'll jump in and listen to those just because that's the business we're in. As Clubhouse has grown more, there have been, I feel like at first it was and it still is very professional, but at first it was very, very professional. And now I'm starting to see rooms get a little more casual and which has been a lot of fun. And, beyond the business stuff, there's been so much value on that app. Things that you would have to pay to go to these conferences to listen to some of the information they're giving you, you have it right there in the palm of your hand at any point of time in the day. And then we've done some rooms just like with some friends. We just hopped in, and it's so easy to get in a group room real quick and just to say hi to everyone and stuff. And so I've been having a lot of fun with it. But the social media, the marketing, and just some of the real estate updates are the ones that I typically grab my attention the most, that I tune into the most.
I think you brought up a really good point. There's these bigwig speakers that you would have to see at a conference, and they're all joining Clubhouse, and they're putting out this insanely amazing content for free. And my biggest suggestion is, if you are on Clubhouse, is to join rooms that you don't know anyone in. We're all having a blast joining rooms where we're all just basically hanging out on a Friday night, and then we look down and it's been 2 hours. But if you have suggested rooms that you don't know anyone, more than likely they'll pull you up on stage, and that's how you can very quickly meet a whole bunch of new people, which is really cool.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance yet to really get active in one because they just seem to kind of come during the times of day that I can't quite get in them. But there are some podcast ones that you can get in there and you can pitch your podcast, and there's all different types of talent that are in there that are either looking to join a podcast, like be a guest on one, or have you as a guest on theirs. My network already and just the time that I've spent on it has grown. And so I've been kind of just cross-collateralizing the apps. And so, I'm talking about it on Facebook, and it's generating buzz on Facebook. And I had a woman who, I'm not even friends with on Facebook, and she's a realtor. She reached out, she needed an invite to Clubhouse, and she wanted to know if I had any. That right there is currency in itself. And then Instagram, that's where you do the DMs through Clubhouse, is through Instagram. They have that connected. And I have connected with quite a few people just from over the United States in our industry. One woman, she's a social media expert, and she sent me her social media guide. which is really cool. And so the connections that you can make from that app so far for me, I think have been the most invaluable piece that I can get from it right now.
And you touched on a really important point, and that I've kept saying in rooms with all of our friends over and over, is if you're going to take the time to invest in Clubhouse, make sure your Instagram is up to snuff, because as you said, that's where the conversations happen, because there's no direct messaging on Clubhouse. You link your Clubhouse profile to your Twitter and your Instagram. Of course, most of us utilize Instagram more than Twitter these days. So when you're in a room and you have this great conversation, you tell people, like, if you want to continue the conversation, follow me on Instagram. So make sure your Instagram is branded and set up properly so that they know that you're the same person. And a big part of that is make sure your profile picture is the same. And Lindsay Sills totally called me out because mine is not the same between Clubhouse and Instagram right now. So that's something I need to fix. But if you are not on Clubhouse yet and you're waiting for an invite, you can go to joinclubhouse.com and you can go ahead and pick your username. So if you want it to match, your Instagram, your Twitter, TikTok, whatever, go ahead and grab your username. And then when you get an invite, you're all set to just join, which is pretty cool that you can go ahead and lock that down if you have a really popular name like Jenn or Ashley. It's kind of nice.
Ashley Miller.
So there's one more big thing I definitely wanted to talk about, because we talk about a lot about company culture, both at Core, JTT, and with you guys at GTG. And it's a big part of our hiring process. It's a big part of our marketing. And at Core and at JTT, we use the DISC profile, which most people know what that is. And we talk about with hiring, to hire somebody who's got different strengths than you so that they will enjoy and be good at the things that are opposite of you. But I'm a huge Enneagram nerd, and I think Ashley is too. And so we've been talking a lot. If you don't know the Enneagram, it's another quiz you can take. It's a personality trait, but I feel like there's a little bit more depth than there is with DISC.
I think the DISC is very business related. It's a great coaching tool. And we still use that too. So when we hire, we use Wise Hire, and they have a DISC built into the application process. So when we get resumes, it's a mini version of the full-blown DISC, but it's a good coaching and personality assessment as far as I think business is concerned, where the Enneagram dives much deeper into your behavior, your behavioral traits, and just what makes you as a person, and your communication styles, and what your motivators are in your personal life and in your business life. And so I think it's just much more of a involved personality assessment than the DISC is. And so myself and the management team have all taken our assessments, and we've dove deep into what each of us are and how we all work together. And unbeknownst to us, we're actually the perfect makeup for a management team, which is great. And I think that just speaks to the fact that culture for us is really huge. And so without us knowing what our Enneagrams were first, we'd already aligned ourselves properly, which is really, really cool. And then I use it with staff. And when we're hiring and when we're interviewing, I have studied it so much now that I can pretty much pick out and maybe get, fairly good, read on what Enneagram someone might be. And from there, then you can, I think, communicate more effectively. You can manage more effectively. And there's so much with it that you can do the more you learn it and study it.
Absolutely. And one thing I've come across recently, so I'm an 8-wing 7 for those that do know what an Enneagram is. And Ashley, you're a 3-wing 2?
Yep, 3-wing 2.
Okay. It's like the new friendship code, like what's your Enneagram? And there's all kinds of Instagram posts and stuff, but you can also study like how your personality tends to react when you're thriving versus when you're, I hate to use the word suffering, but that's a lot of the word
under stress.
Yeah. And it can help you understand, like, if somebody's acting totally out of normal, you can see like, oh, they're acting like the opposite of normal, like what's going on. And it can help you understand how to communicate with them in those moments, which can be more important than the day-to-day. It's like when there's high stress, when there's a lot going on.
Absolutely. And if we know our industry, high stress is the name of the game.
Absolutely. So that's another quiz that I think is really interesting to take. I'm looking forward to having our whole office take it to see how everybody pieces together. So I know that's part of y'all's hiring process now.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's we use the DISC, I think, more as far as hiring is concerned, because the Enneagram is not going to deter us from hiring someone, whereas the DISC will let you know if they're not a good fit or if they are. So that to me is pretty black and white, whereas the Enneagram is just more of a behavioral tool to use, to, like you said, to figure out, if someone's not acting, their normal self, why is that? And why are they reacting to these things in a certain way? We communicate and receive it differently, right? So how I communicate and how I receive it, it's not always the same. And that kind of breaks down those walls. So we use it for more of a leadership tool than we would a hiring tool. But it's absolutely part of, my daily functions too.
Very cool. So what are we trying to do in 2021 that's new? Are you guys building more staff or kind of tackling that to-do list from last year? Or what are you looking forward to this year?
So I think this year will be the year of us truly implementing everything that we built last year. We are always looking for talent too, because scaling and growth is something that I think is going to be forever ongoing for GTG. We expanded quite a bit last year as far as new hires. And then even being this year, we've added 3 or 4 people just since the first of the year, new staff members.
Cool.
So we redid our systems last year. We had implemented some new procedures, and last year was the year of, figuring out those pain points and then how to solve them. And then this year now is the year of testing that, implementing that, and making sure that the systems we set up last year are working the way that we predicted them to. So that's, I think, the direction we're headed in this year. And we've got some new stuff to implement as far as marketing is concerned. We might be moving office spaces. I mean, expansion is always the name of the game. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, last year threw us for a loop. We're hoping this year, is a little bit more calm. I hate to say that, knock on wood, but yeah, hopefully this year, we'll get to see everything that we built last year working for us.
Awesome. Yeah, that's something that we put a lot of content out there, is like, take the time in 2020 to build these systems that you now realize have holes in them. Like 2020 was a huge learning opportunity to figure out where the holes were and to take the time to deep dive into systems. So it sounds like you guys have definitely done that. What kind of marketing stuff are you hoping to put out in 2021?
Video. I gotta do the video. I have to get so much better on the video. Deeper into Clubhouse. There's some, my wheels were spinning when that app first came out on how to utilize it for the company. But video, absolutely, this year, I 100% need to make sure that I get that rolling.
That'll be fun. It'll be fun to see what you guys come up with, and getting Glenn doing videos on a regular basis will be amusing. Awesome. Well, in case anybody in our audience is looking to join a team, can you give us the contact information of how people can reach out to you?
Yes. So you can reach me at ashley@gtgfi.com. You can head to our website, which is www.gtgfi.com. And you can also call me 707-761-2554. We're licensed in California, Texas, and Colorado, and we're always looking for the right people to keep building our team with.
Awesome. And I put that contact information in the comments. Anything else you want to share with our audience today?
No, I'm happy to be back here with you. I'm glad that we got to do this again. It doesn't feel like it's been a whole entire year, but
I know.
It has. And it's cool to see how you guys have grown. It's fun to talk about the growth that we've experienced as well. So thank you for having me.
Of course. And on Clubhouse, I am at Jen Waybor. And are you at Ashley?
Hold on. I don't know what I am.
We talked about Clubhouse so much. I feel like we should throw that out there too.
No, this is okay. So my Clubhouse is the same as my Instagram handle, @NickMiller.
So follow us over there as well. And if you are interested in more information about Just the Tips coaching, if you're interested in our weekly little tip or copies of the show, our podcast, which is on Apple and Spotify now, a copy of Adam's book, Just the Tips, and I don't have it sitting right here, just pretend I'm holding it, or information about this year's Mile High Mastermind, which fingers crossed we'll be able to be at full capacity this year. Right, you can text tips to 63566 and it will ping you back all of that. And next week, Adam and I will be back with another guest. So thank you everybody for hanging out with us. And thank you so much, Ashley. It's always great spending time with you.
Thank you.